Good day, students. This is the video on line defects, continuation of the point defects. Line defects are also called dislocations, and there are two types of line defects. One is called edge dislocation, where you are discontinuity of a line. In figure, it is clearly shown in the fourth layer from left to right. That line is not continued, and the crystal in figures A down, you are seeing a perfect crystal, and if it has a dislocation, it will be shown here. And if you move throughout the crystal, you will end up, if you go 5 4 5 4 in the arrowed line, or anywhere in the crystal, you will come back to the starting point. From P again you will come back to pi P. If you move, see this, we have moved 5 points in the from P to the right side, then 4 points up, then 5 points right, and 4 points down. We came back to P, but that is not the case in case of this vector. If you move 5 from Q to Q on to the right direction, 4 up, if you move 5, you will not come to the position. Instead of moving 5, you have to move 6. Then that distance between the atom PQ is called a Burger vector, opposite to the direction of movement. That is the Burger vector. See this, if the line is moving this way, it has shown xy is the called a slip plane, and here we have two discontinuity lines. First, if a shear stress is applied, then inverted T, as I shown here, red line, in shear stress it is moving upward, that is called a positive dislocation. And here it is T, discontinuity line is moving in the downward, in the direction of shear stress, downward to the slip plane. Then it is called a negative dislocation. This is negative dislocation, okay, because it is below stress plane, it is in the form of T. It is inverted T, and it is above the slip plane. It is called positive edge dislocation. And during the shear stress, see how the dislocation moves when after applying shear stress over the edge of the crystal. If dislocation is formed, you see this, the third layer is this. When you apply this shear stress, that dislocation is moving. Now the third discontinuous line will become fourth discontinuous line, fifth discontinuous line. Then this will become the slip plane, slip step we call. Okay, this is about edge dislocation. And Burger vector measures amount of dislocation in the crystal. Here, as I said, this is the starting point, and you are moving, coming down 4 points and moving this way 5 points, again moving up 4 points and coming back 5 points. You will end up from starting to the ending point will be the starting point, okay, in a perfect crystal. If we have a dislocation, see what happens. If you see from left to right, fourth line is a discontinued, it is inverted T, and you have started from starting point, you have moved 4 down, okay, 4 left to right, again 4 up, and if you move 4 right, you will not go to the starting point, and there is some difference in the ending point and starting point, and that measures Burger vector. and it is always from starting point to ending point. It is a vector. The direction is shown as B. I think you got this Burger vector. Burger vector marks the magnitude and direction of the strain component of the dislocation. Okay. Burger vector, it is in the x-axis, whereas the discontinuity line is in the y-axis. Our Burger vector is perpendicular to the discontinuity line. Okay, you can say that way. Burger vector in the perpendicular to the dislocation line. Okay, when you come to screw dislocation, here displacement of the atoms in one part of the crystal relative to the rest of the crystal, forming a spiral ramp around the dislocation line. You see this figure. Here B measures the Burger vector. EF is the slip plane, and around that at point E you will see they are closed. If you move from A to B, you will see a helical structure because the distance moves in the anti-clockwise direction. If you see this, B is the maximum and that goes on decreases, or you can say as you coming out from the slip plane, the distance or helical structure, the distance is increasing, and B measures the Burger vector in this case, and B is parallel to the slip plane. That is very important. In a screw dislocation, Burger vector is parallel to the dislocation. If you see this figure, the same, it is shown like this. From D you are seeing atoms are in the y-axis. At A they are inclined, or you can take in xy, but at EF you will see they are turning from y to x slowly, right? And that is EF is the slip plane. Okay, EF is the slip plane. It is of this kind also, another figure. And important is this question will be asked: difference between edge dislocation and screw dislocation. An edge of if you come to the edge dislocation, both are line defects. The first one is an edge of an atomic plane is formed internal to the crystal. Edge dislocation is inside the crystal. Only a distortion of the lattice cells in the immediate vicinity is produced. You can see outside. You are able to see this very close to that. There is the imperfection is observed. The Burger vector of edge dislocation is perpendicular to dislocation line. Here it is parallel to the dislocation line. An edge dislocation moves in a direction of the Burger vector, slip direction. Okay, you have seen this the movement in the shear direction, and Burger vector is also in that direction only. So the movement is in the slip direction. Whereas here a screw dislocation moves in the slip plane in a direction perpendicular to the Burger vector, because the slip plane is parallel to the dislocation line, and it is Burger vector is moving perpendicular to the shear stress. Okay, moves in a perpendicular to the screw dislocation moves in a direction perpendicular to the Burger vector. In screw dislocation, the distortion follows helical or screw path. The pitch of the screw may be left-handed or right-handed. Here you see, in this you can say about EF, if you see it is a right, it moves this way. You can say if you move from this way in the direction of the B, it is in the anti-clockwise direction. Okay. Here, an edge dislocation involves extra row of atoms either above or below. If inverted T positive, we take T if it is negative. The forces required to form ion to move an edge dislocation are smaller, but they are comparatively higher. Speed of movement of edge dislocation is greater than that of a screw dislocation. The edge dislocation is particularly useful in explaining slip in plastic flow during mechanical working, and screw dislocation is useful in explaining crystal growth as well as slip in plastic deformation. That you have to write the difference between the two. Next comes surface defects. As I said, surface defects are two-dimensional defect. Area wise, a surface imperfect surface is observed, and that surface will have a boundary. Okay, we have external surface imperfection and internal surface imperfection. There are two type of surface defects. External surface imperfection is very easy. If you see this figure, the internal atoms are equally attracted from the surroundings, whereas the surface atoms, these are equally attracted, but whereas the surface atoms, they are attracted downward, but there are no atoms in the upward, so they are elongated. They are exactly spherical, circular. These are elliptical, right? And that is called this plane. It's the upper plane itself will have atoms of this kind, and that is called external surface imperfection. And internal surface imperfection, we got 5 types. There is grain boundaries. Grain boundaries are like this. See this, on this side you are getting perfect. Here they are inclined. Okay. This inclination will leave some atoms, group of atoms here. See this is of this kind, and here you will see line of this kind, and in gap, this is grain boundaries. This is first type of internal surface imperfection. Grain boundaries are because of in between two surfaces, right? In between two surfaces you are going to get this. Grain boundaries are those planar imperfect ions in a polycrystal matter that separate crystals of different orientation. These are oriented like this, but these are oriented this way. Different orientation. In between two different orientation grains, you are going to get grain boundary. And the second, see this is another picture, grain 1, this is grain 2, and this is the boundary. This neither belongs to grain 1, this neither belongs to grain 2. This is the grain boundary. After that only you will enter to grain 2, or if you cross this you will enter to grain 1. And high angle grain boundaries, when the angle, the misorientation angle between the grains is greater than 10 degree to 15 degree, then it is called high angle grain boundary. If it is less than 10 degree, then you call low angle grain boundary. Then comes tilt boundaries. Tilt boundaries are of this kind. The second type of is tilt boundaries or twist boundaries, it is called. Here you see this, these line perfections are existing along this. Okay, this surface you are getting so many line imperfection, and here if you measure from one to other, from this to this distance is d, and if this is Burger vector, and D equal to B by T. The boundary may be regarded as area of dislocation because a line of edge dislocation, a line of edge dislocation leads to tilt boundary, and the angle of tilt is given by tan theta equal to B by D, or theta. For small angle you can write tan theta as theta equal to B by D. Tilt boundary, the degree of misorientation. If it is less than 10 degree, then you call small angle. More than this, D is dislocation spacing and B is the length of the Burger vector. Then we got twist boundaries. Twist boundaries are the second class of low angle boundaries resulting from the set of screw dislocations. This is edge dislocation. Tilt boundary because of edge dislocation. Twist boundaries because of two set of screw dislocations. In twist boundaries, the rotation is about an axis normal to the boundary. The rotation is about an axis normal to the boundary. Alright. And twin boundaries we are getting like this. This is one boundary for upper grain, and this is another boundary for the lower grain. We get twin boundaries and they are separated to planes. Surface defects separate two orientations of the mirror images of the one another. This is also oriented like this, this is also oriented like this, but in between these two we got this surface which is a defect. Stacking faults, the fifth type, is like this. You see this. Here the points, if you see, they are arranged C, A, B type of the atoms, A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C at the edge. But if you come in the middle, what happens? C, A, B, C, A is not there, A is not continued in the center here, A is not continued. It becomes CAB, CB, CAB. This happens in, this is FCC metal, shows such type of defects. Stacking fault is a surface imperfection that results from the stacking of one atomic plane out of sequence on another, while the lattice on either side of the fault is perfect. Here is perfect, here is also perfect, but missing in this, and this is called stacking fault. And ferromagnetic domain walls, this is also comes under aerial defect or two-dimensional defect. Ferromagnetic region differ from one another only in the direction of magnetization. When you do magnetization, the boundary between them is an imperfection, and that is called ferromagnetic domain. This arises when you are magnetizing the material, and imperfection that existing between two boundaries of the atoms which are magnetized, that is called ferromagnetic domain walls. Next comes volume defects. You are three-dimensional defect. We are not doing much on this, and a cluster of atoms are missing. A large vacancy or void is created. That is volume imperfection or foreign particle inclusion. Large amount of foreign particles are concentrated at one place. That creates volume defect. Okay, and I think this completes the imperfection in solids. Thank you.